the architecture quality attributes and their trade-offs. So basically, what I'm going to cover here is that when we are thinking of a software solution, software product, what are the quality attributes? Or somebody is calling that non-functional requirements. Or sometimes it is called architectural parameters. What are those parameters? How those are important? And importantly, trade-offs of the parameters. So when the one parameter is going to increase, if you focus on a single parameter, probably others will be go down. So we cannot do like that. We have to have a balance on those parameters. We'll talk about that. So before going to the software products, so we have several other product domains, right? So we'll go to those things because we all are familiar those things. For an example, houses. Everybody lives in houses, right? So you know about houses. What are the requirements and everything? I know that nowadays the people are building the houses. They're going to build houses. They are planning for houses. Dinesh is laughing. So anyway, so when we are building a house, right, there is the requirement. So I need 2-bedroom house. I need a kitchen like this. This square feet should be there. Those are requirements. Those are customer requirements, right? So in addition to that, when we ask architecture to build the plan, so they are thinking on other angles, right? Those are the non-functional for the houses. Sometimes they are thinking on the width of the walls. So we can get it as a security, right? So how the thief can break that or not. Likewise, also the ventilation they are thinking, right? The ventilation angles. The requirement is there. With the 2 bedrooms, they can make a house with a very thin walls as well, right? But they are thinking on some different angles, which are the non-functional, which are the quality attributes actually, right? In the house also we can have the quality attributes, not only the software products, because now you can understand the quality attributes if we going through the some non-product domains. So the next one is so much familiar. So most of the people is using vehicles, right? So cars and the vans, everything, right? In vehicle also, so there are requirements. Sometimes if we get the van, so the number of sheet is a customer requirements. The how much people can be accommodated, right? So if we go further, so we can have non-functional. For an example, let's say, so with the low cost cars, when it is have accident, it can be quickly damaged, right? So the materials and those things may not be much quality, may not be much harder. But if we have the higher cost one, so even if the accident is happen, the safety is there, the security is there. Sometimes the 8 airbags is coming, right? The people is saving. So those are kind of the quality attributes of the vehicles. So the architecture of the vehicle or the people who design the vehicles is thinking on those areas, right? The durability. So we can make the durability also, some parts and the engines, the durability of the engines. Those things is the quality attribute. Some lower prices one is within 2-3 years it is getting damaged or something will happen. But the durability with the good quality one, the durability may be higher. So also the durability, security, availability, those things is coming to the picture in these product domain as well, right? So finally, we'll focus on the software products, right? The remaining things will be mainly focused on the software products because we are working on the software products. We'll see these quality attributes as well as their trade-offs how should we think as a software architect to design a software with those quality attributes and balance those quality attributes when we are designing a software product. Right. So you can see the image, right? There are lot of quality attributes when we are considering a software product, right? This image is good because so you can see some are very bold, some are very large, some are the medium, some are very smaller, right? So you can see. Actually, this is the way when we are building a product, software product. Some quality attributes we think in as a very priority ones. Some quality attributes sometimes we think as a low priority ones. This is vary according to the software product. This vary according to the software product. There can be software product for the finance domains, right? Some are the real-time products. For an example, the vehicle. Let's get an example. Real-time, right? So in a vehicle, let's say the ABS, anti-braking system, right? The anti-braking system is it is managed through a software system, right? So if that signal is not coming in nanoseconds, there is a very danger thing will be happen, right? Should be happen at the real time, right? Then the performance is very important. The latency should be zero. Latency should be minimized, right? That is very high in the if we consider a real time product. Sometimes the safety critical product like the flight simulation software, something like that. It's mainly consider the security of the system, right? So likewise, in different product domains, different software quality attributes may be get into the higher priorities, others may be get into the lower priorities. This has to be identified by the software architect as well as other stakeholders when we are designing a software product. Actually, there are some software architectural trade-off analysis methods, right? On those methods, we can, for an example, in one method, we can build a quality attribute matrix. This is the quality attribute matrix. We can define the values for the quality attributes. These values should be there. We have done that for the new OMS design in last time. So we define the software quality attribute matrix and we define the values. For an example, TPS should be this much. The response time of the view or the customer query is this much. Likewise, security, the messages should be encrypted likewise. So we define the quality attributes and we focus on that, right? So we'll move to the next one. So I have explained somehow the trade-off, right? What do you think? I think that trade-off is a philosophical theory. It's not only applicable for the software product, but also applicable everywhere. For an example, let's say, so you working shopping, right? You going for a shopping with your kids. So you have some money, right? So he is requesting, I need this likewise. So you told to them, so you select either this one or this one, right? So you ask them to, you are not giving both, right? Both or multiple, so you are asking get this one or this one. This image is realized that. So if he is asking popcorn and ice cream both, so you are asking that please select either one. So popcorn or ice cream, not both. This is a trade-off, right? This is going to select either one or balance either one, right? Likewise. So when we are building a software product also, it is like that. So you need the security, okay, fine. Then the performance in this case will be go down. So are you agree? So we have to go like that, right? There is always a trade-off. Yes, of course, right? The trade-off uh, trade-off of the quality attributes or the software architectural parameters has to be defined at the beginning of the software design. Otherwise, it will be a huge mistake we are doing. So you can realize that in our OMS also, the people are asking for some attributes, right? Especially for the performance. So once we are going to increase the TPS, so we are asking that with the current design, current architecture, current implementation, we cannot go to this much. We cannot go to this value. So just because of the design, it like that. So the design itself has to be considered those quality attributes. Security also say the availability, sometimes the scalability. So we are asking that scalability cannot build in our the current OMS. So just because of that, the design is not supported. So we didn't think those quality attributes, right? So that is why, especially as an architect should be considered at the beginning of the product build, not the intermediate level. So we develop the software product, then we think of the software quality attributes and going to address those things. It has to be at the first level. That's why the architectural trade-off analysis method is there. So we can use, as I mentioned, the utility trees or the quality attributes matrix. So we can define the quality attribute matrix and the values of them, and we can target. For an example, let's say if we need to have the performance, the transaction per second, TPS, the 1000. So then we have to think a way, right? So the transactions. So we have to go for a memory level persistence, or we have to go for a permanent persistence. If we go for a permanent persistence, can we achieve this one? So we have to think on those angles, those techniques and the technical things, as well as the design. So can we add multiple nodes, multiple machines, and can we achieve this? Likewise, we have to think, right? The value is very important. The quality attributes value. Most of the quality attributes actually the quantifiable. These are not the subjective, right? For an example, let's say beauty. Let's get beauty. It is not the quantifiable, right? Someone say this guy is beautiful. Someone say no, this is beauty. It is not much. It is not a quantifiable, but those parameters is quantifiable. So we can measure those the software quality attributes. So it is very easy to achieve those things, right? Yes, of course. As a characteristic of the software architect, he has to be clearly mentioned to other stakeholders that the balancing of the software quality attributes. For an example, let's say when nowadays the customers also focusing on the quality attributes, not just the functional requirement, right? So when the customer is requesting some changes, so we can see it in some change request as well. They are thinking that this much of security should be there, these messages should be encrypted. Likewise, the requirement also coming. That means they are also in the customers also thinking on the quality attributes and the non-functional requirements angles, right? So when we getting the quality attributes, so architect has to be balance those things. So every customer requirement we cannot accommodate, then we have to argue on the trade-off, right? So for an example, let's say customer is asking the every messages going through the network has to be encrypted. Maybe a requirement like that. So then architecture has to be argued that if we do it like that, there may be the latency added to every message. Then there can be a performance issue. Not going for that, but the critical message only we will be encrypted. So that's a trade-off, right? So the customer requirement we cannot fully ignore. So we have to get, but not all messages, right? Because all messages will not be contain the critical data. Sometimes few messages will be having the critical data, others will not. So we have to have always the balance, right? Okay, actually my main target is going for a few quality attributes and going to dig for those attributes in order to give you an idea about those quality attributes, not for all. So others I will briefly explain. Okay, the performance. So can you define the performance? What do you think of a performance? What is performance? So this is applicable again in several domains, not only the software product, but also for several domains, right? So as the image shows that, so within 1 minute, how far you can run. So that is also kind of a performance, right? Within 1 minute, so how much you can eat. That's also a kind of performance. Am I correct in it? Right? So likewise, the performance is generally within a unit time, how much work is done is the performance. The how much work is done for a given time or a unit time, right? But the how much time is done is depend because how much correcting is done. That is very important. For an example, let's say the government factory girl is so he can make the collars, right? To make the collars, 1 minute, 10 collars is produced, let's say. But always 3 is out of order. So only 7 is fine, good. So then we can measure only the 7, right? So other there is another one. He make 8. He make 8 per minute. So all is fine. All is good. So the who are the highest performing? The second one, right? Obviously second. So what are the correct ones? The correct work done within a unit time is always the performance. How can we define the performance in the software product? So what are the matrices? Metrics. How can we define? As I said, those are the quantifiable values. So you can see the transaction per second sometimes, right, in our system. So we are thinking number of orders going within a second, unit time, TPS, right? That is a performance matrix, right? Not only that, most of the people is knowing about the TPS, transaction per second, how much the transaction is done per a second, but not thinking about the response time, the latency. Those are ignored by the people sometimes. If we get a view or a grid view or some inquiry, probably the response time is coming to the picture, right? So people is refresh and looking for the window. If the data is not coming, the response time will be increased. The increase in the response time will be disappointed the user. The usability of the system will be going down. So sometimes we can design when we are designing a software product. So sometimes that is why the asynchronously increase in the grids or something like that we can introduce with the less response time, right? So people is requesting for data. It can be 100 or 1000 data may be there, but only 10 records quickly push to the user while he is scrolling through the others. I think the navigator also doing the same thing, right? When we are doing the query and run that query, only the first the 500 or 250 what is the configured data will be fetching, and the response time will be given to the user. Now fetching load. There are configurations we can fetch all, but that is a way to improve the response time. That is only one way. Anyway, the response time is very important. Always users is willing to have a less response time, right? The TPS should be higher. The response time should be low. So what about the latency and the waiting time? For an example, let's say, so we went for a shopping, right? Shopping set. So only two counters is there. The people is waiting lot of time in a queue. So the people will be getting disappointed, right? Even their request is not getting to the system because they are waiting. The software product also same like that, right? Sometimes when we do a request, there can be some latencies due to several reasons, right? So this latency has to be minimized, it should be reduced, right? So those are the metrics. So what are the tactics to achieve those things? So basically in the performance there are a lot of tactics, there are a lot of things can be done, right? I just mentioned some tactics, then you can think on others, right? So of course, the software system, software product will be run on the machine, right? The computer machine or any other machine. They have hardware resources, right? So if we run the software product on those hardware configuration, if it utilize just the 20% of the hardwares, then we can run only the few works per second, right, or a unit time. If we utilize the much of the hardwares, the memory or the CPU, right, we cannot idle the CPU. It is not necessary to idle the CPU. So we have to give them work, the CPU, and get work done quickly. It is applicable for us also. The PM always getting the much from the resources, right? Not idling the resources. The 8 hours completely they are taking the work. Am I correct, Lakshman? Right? So they are focusing on that time. The utilization, increasing the utilizations will probably increase the performance. But again, that's a trade-off. Sometimes, normally in the software product, it is asked to utilize maximum up to some percentages, like 75 or 80 percentages, because the system can be cramped sometimes. So we have to balance it, right? Most people is know about the parallelism, right? The doing the task in parallel, we can improve the performance. We can use several machines if we need, several hardware. So somehow we have to do parallel the works and do the works quickly. So the parallelism is one thing we can achieve the performance. What else? Avoid unnecessary message conversions. As I said earlier, if we consider on the security high, so we are always encrypting the messages, sometimes converting the messages. Every message has to be converted to some format, so that can be ignored to increase the performance. Sometimes because when we consider a software product, there can be several platforms, right? Some are Java, some are .NET, some other languages. Every technologies cannot be taught in a single language, right? Single format. So always there is a conversions. Serializability, we cannot do this the .NET serializability with the Java. It will be serialized whatever the .NET can identify, right? Then message has to be converted always. For an example, our OLS system, so we are going for a mix, right? Anyway, that mix string has to be converted by the other system, right? Especially in .NET system, and get the values. There is a conversion. If we can avoid the conversions, for an example, everybody can use a general one, like a JSON or something like that. The database also should be support for that. JSON string has to be stored there quickly. So anyway, somehow if we are able to minimize the conversions, then we can achieve the performance. That is not the end, right? Those are some tactics, but there are a lot. So you can think. So I think Indun is sleeping, no problem. So let's continue, right? Uh, what are the trade? Huh? 20 minutes. So trade-offs. What are the trade-offs? So once the performance is trying to increase, as I said, the unnecessary message conversion has to be less, the number of transactions, resource utilization should be high. With those things, the security will be reduced. Sometimes the security will be reduced, as well as the availability of the system may be getting down, right? The testability, because now we use several machines, the parallelism is there, some thread is going there. It is not straightforward testing now. There has to be, the testing will be some difficult, right? The testability is going down. Uh, Reliability is, of course, sometimes the reliability also going down, because now the is doing much task. It is applicable for people also. When the people is fully utilized, he is doing several tasks, right? He is going to increase the performance. His reliability is will be going down. Sometimes he may be get sick. Likewise, the reliability also going down. Let's move to the availability. One of the major software quality attributes, right? What do you mean by the availability of a system? Availability. Generally, the availability is, so this image is realized that availability, right? When you go for a fuel station, the fuel is not there. The fuel is not available, right? Same like software system. The software system is out of order for some time due to various reasons. It can be going down, right? It can be behave unexpectedly. The system is up, but user cannot be used there because it is not functioning correctly, right? So the availability, actually it is a very straightforward one. So we can measure the availability. It is mean time to failure over mean time to failure plus mean time to recover the system, right? So system can start running, going, right? It can be fail somewhere. There is a mean time between failures. Also there is a recoverability time. So there can be recoverability time. Is also, if we consider the mean time, right? The total is the failure time and the recoverable time, and functioning time is the mean time to failure, right? So we can measure it as a percentage. The availability can be measured it as a percentage. Let's get an example. Let's say the system has to be run 24 hours, right? The 1 hour is always the system is down, like our network system in Mubasha, right? Is always sometimes going out of order. So if it is 1 hour is going out of order from 24 hours, it is always 23 divided by 24 into 100 is the availability. That's the percentage, right? So the availability is always is measured in 90s. The people is talk about the availability is 90s. If it is a 90%, 30 days will be going down in a 1 year. System is the 40 days is down in a 1 year. If it is 99, 4 days, if it is 99.9, 9 hours, right? It's still not enough, 99.9 for some critical system, some financial system. I will highlight one point as I get from one of the lecture I have participated. Dr. Sant Fernando. He got a nice example. Let's say the dialogue billing system. There is a billing system. Let's say it is gone down for 1 minute. The system is gone down for 1 minute. So let's say how much calls is going for 1 minute. All those will not be calculated the bills within that minute. So you can imagine, let's say for 1 minute, 1 rupee is charging. So how many minutes can be, how many, the total minutes, total people can be called during that minute. If it is 1 million, the 1 million rupees is lost just due to 1 minute system down, sitting down. So we cannot recover that one, right? Sometimes we cannot recover. So I have given another examples on that day, which Madhusha done the presentation. That's a no, that's not the actually the system down, but it's the system out of order, right? That is also the availability problem. System is going out of order. It is not working as expected. So due to that also there was a huge money loss. The availability is very critical, especially for the financial system, also for the safety critical systems, right? What are the tactics to achieve the availability? Of course, the replication, right? If multiple people is having to do the same thing, right? If one people is sick or if one people is going out of order, we can accommodate others to do the same task, right? Same like in software products, if multiple machines or multiple nodes is there to do the same task, right? Do the same task. If one machine is going out of order, the other can be take care of that. So always the increase in the replications, the replica is always doing the same thing, right? The increasing the replicas, we can achieve the availability. What else? The recovery mechanisms. The better recovery mechanisms probably increase the availability, right? If the system is gone down, if we can quickly recover that within seconds, the system itself is recovering that, the availability is increased, right? System is only out of order few minutes or few seconds. So we can consider the fault tolerance as well. Fault tolerance is that when the software product is going out of order, the system itself is trying to correct that one, In any software product, it can be having errors, right? It can be, there is a possibility going down or having the problems or going out of order. But the system itself is having the capability to avoid that one, tolerate that one. That is, we are talking about the fault tolerance. Sometimes system is automatically restarting, right? Sometimes the system is starting another instance, same machine or another machine. We are mainly talking about the distributed systems, right? With the multiple nodes. But that is the one thing. So we can achieve the availability. I will go through the quickly as I have only 30 minutes. I think now it is
15 minutes.
15 minutes. Remain. Okay, fine. So the trade-offs, of course, when the availability, when we are increasing the availability, sometimes the security may be going down. You know that the availability we can achieve using the multiple nodes, multiple the machines. If the number of machines is higher, so we have to much secure those things, right? The people can be attacked to those things. The outside attackers, there is a higher possibility to attack some machines. So the security may be going down. The testability of the system, again, Madhusha, the testability will be getting decreased, right? So the once the multiple machines, multiple nodes is there, so it will be complex task. The cost, always when we are considering the software quality attributes, cost and the timeline is major factors, because the customer is always considering on the cost, right? The project managers and everyone is considering on the time to deliver, right? Sometimes if we cannot deliver within time frame, that software may be not useful. Some other competitors will be put the software and get the market done. So the time to market is very important, as well as the cost is very important. When we are trying to achieve the availability, always the cost is going exponentially high. Why? So you can realize that in this graph actually, the total inventory cost versus the product availability, right? So when we try to increase the product availability little bit, right? So you can see in here, once it is near to the 100%, the cost is getting much increase, right? It is exponentially increasing. Why? Can anyone give an answer? Why it is exponentially getting higher? As I told that, with a single person or a single node, we cannot achieve the 100% probably, right? So even we cannot go near to the 99.9 level. So with a single node. So probably we have to increase the number of the nodes or the number of machines, the hardware. So increasing the number of resource hardware, the double the cost. It will cost more, right? The one security guy is there. So if we need to increase the availability of the security guys, so we have to put 2. So then we have to pay double. So likewise, increasing the availability always costly, right? The next parameter, the next attribute is the security, which I am going to discuss. The security is all again a very important parameter. Most of the time, now security is coming as a functional requirement to us, right? The functional requirements. When we are giving a software system, there are a lot of third-party guys which come into picture, and they are measuring the security of our systems, because it is very important, right? What is the security of a system? Can anyone tell what are the areas at least? Securities. What should be secure?
Maybe my sensitive data should be able to see by me only.
Yes, of course.
Definitely.
Yes, that's the confidentiality. We call it confidentiality of the data. Some data is very confidential, right? Like our salaries, so like that in the HR system, it is very confidential. So no one else shouldn't be see those things. Very confidential. What else? The confidentiality is probably there. So other thing is that integrity, right? Integrity of data. So all those things is related to the information integrity. What is information integrity? System should have a track or the audit who done the changes, who done the modifications on data, right? If some thing is added to the system, if some data is modified in the system, who done those changes, that should be available. That we call data integrity, right? What else? Availability. So of course the availability of a system or the data is very important. Sometimes outside attackers or someone can hack the system, right? And do denial of service attack. The service is going out of order. So data is not available. The information is not available for people. Sometimes in a critical time, right? It's very important in the security perspective. The measurement of those parameters, we can measure the security. Actually, so we cannot tell security in some percentages or some specific values, because we cannot measure it as a percentage or it has some values, but these parameters we have to consider on talking about the security. What are the tactics? Right? In the system, in the software system, the securities can be addressed in 3 stages, as 3 actions. So we can prevent the attackers, right? We can prevent any attacks to the system. So using some firewalls, there are some network levels, right? So there are some layers of the software product deployments. You know that inside level is there, right? The DMC level is there, right? So likewise, DMC is demilitarized zone. So that is there. So only the known persons, known IPs, known ports is allowed to come into the system, right? Others is blocked. There is a firewall. So using that, so we can have the preventions. There are some other prevention mechanisms. I just got one example, right? So, detection is very important. Sometimes the attacker is inside, so we do not know. We do not know, right? These are applicable for some other securities as well, right? When we are some army also, we can apply those things. So enemy is inside, we do not know. So system doesn't identify the enemy. So it is very important. So that is why system should have some scanning, some mechanism to identify the enemies. It's like antivirus or something like that in running in software system, right? So always checking for enemies. If there is an enemy, so detect, then get action. The other one is the reaction, of course. The enemy is identified. Now we have to kill them, right? So antivirus itself is having those features. In the software product also, if we identify the enemy, we have to avoid those things, remove those things. That is the reaction. Right? So one point I will highlight when we are considering the security, information is always in three stages. When we are considering a software system, always in three stages. Right? One is that being transmitted. The data information can be being transmitted this way through a network or something else, right? The other one is being stored. It is stored in somewhere, right? It can be in the disk, or it can be in any other external device or somewhere, right? So other thing is that being processed. It can be in being processed state. It can be in memory, right? So likewise. So what do you think? In which case is the least security is there? Is it in the being transmitted? Is it in the being persisted? Or is it in being processed state? One. What do you think? Being transmitted. Any argument? Yes. So yes, of course, for everything there is a argument, right? So as he told that he argued, yes, that is correct. So in being transmitted state, so we can achieve using several mechanisms. Let's say, so we have encrypted mechanisms, so we have cryptography mechanisms, so we have hashing mechanisms. So one way there are a lot of things we can achieve in the being transmitted state as well. So what about the being processed state? So if the attacker is getting to the program itself, the running program itself, sometimes let's say password is in the plain text in the memory, right? Should be in the plain text little while. So otherwise we cannot. If it is a text box input, the little while it is in the plain text. So then it is converted into the hash code or something like that. So if attacker is targeting to the memory, so he can see these information. So if the attacker is smart enough to attack on the being transmitted state, information being transmitted state, then there is a risk. Right? So what are the other tactics to increase the security? Of course, you know that identification. When the user is, that's why we have the username and password, identification. Give you identity to enter to the system, right? Identification. Authentication, right? We always authenticated using those identifications. So access control. What are those are the entitlements, right? Access controls or the authorizations. So people has authorized to do this task, right? People can come into the system. People can come into the inside. but whether he has the authorization to do this task. That is access control, right? Auditing is very important. Always the auditing. So there is so auditing is increasing the integrity, right? So the people who done the task, people who modify the information will be audited, right? The encryption, hashing and cryptography. Data is hiding from the user. It's not readable format to the user. So we can wrap the data using encryption, hashing and cryptography mechanism, right? So using these tactics, so we can talk about the cryptography one day. So I just highlighting the mechanism, tactics, we can target, right? Trade-offs, what are the trade-offs when we are considering the security? Of course the performance will be going down, so we have to do the multiple encryption, the message conversions, so performance may be getting down. The accessibility, right? So if there is a much security, sometimes the accessibility of the system may be reduced, right? So people has the accessibility may be going down. The usability has the cost. Sometimes usability also going down, because sometimes when the user is needed the information, sometimes there is a much security and much ways to go. So there are authorization process, there are some the permission process. So usability may be going down. The cost, so of course the cost may be going high, because sometimes the hardware level securities has to be built, some hardware level firewalls and those things has to be introduced, right, for a software product. So the cost may be going high. So the last major one I'm going to discuss is the scalability. It's very important nowadays when we are talking about the distributed system. Is very important, the scalability, right? What do you mean by scalability? Anyone can give answer for scalability? I think image itself is giving the answer, right? The image itself is giving the answer. What is scalability? So there is a task. The one person has to be taken this much of time to do that task. Okay, let's say one task is there, that is five man days. If one person is doing the task, it is 5 man days. So what are the project managers' tactics? They are injecting more people, right? They are injecting more people and get the work done quickly. So inject one more people and trying to get it in 2.5 days. It's ideal, but sometimes it can be make it in 3 days. Ideally, it will not go. Ideally, it is 100% has to be there, but it's not go to 100% always. Sometimes it is 80% like that, right? But it is not applicable always. You know that, right? The very famous one is there. The 9 months, the baby delivery cannot be reduced using nine mothers. So it can't be done. So always 9 months is needed to there. Right? Very famous. Likewise, these theories is not applicable always. Sometimes when we increase the resources, it can't be reduce the time. The scalability is same like that in the software system, in the software product, using the multiple resources, the increase in the resources. So we have to increase the work done, the performance, TPS. We have to increase. It is in two forms actually. Right? Yes, it is throughput against the resources, the scalability. I think you are clear about that now. It is in two forms in the software products, that is in vertical scalability and the horizontal scalability. What is vertical and what is horizontal? Always we are horizontal. What is vertical, Vinesh? The vertical scalability is that, right? When we increase in the hardware of a single box or a single node, if we can get the more work done using that product, that is we call vertical scalability. For an example, let's say our OMS is put into the SuperDO, right? The number of cores is 64, the memory is this much. So can we increase the TPS of the system? If that can't, the vertical scalability is not there in that system. So normally actually we are using 10% or the 20% of the CPU of the system, right? When the OMS is running, only the 10% is utilizing always, whether the hardware is there. So the vertical scalability is not there. The other way around is the horizontal scalability. This is very important in the distributed system, horizontal scalability, and nowadays it is very important. So without horizontal scalability, some system can't be exist actually. For an example, let's say Amazon, right, website, or a Google, right, when the number of users is getting increased, getting high, what they strategy? They plug some machines, right, sometimes maybe in somewhere else in the world, right, anyway, so they plug the machines to the system and giving the service, right, increasing the service. Likewise, when we increase in the number of boxes, if we can do like that, right? So, horizontal scalability is there, right? Currently, the OMS system is not supporting multiple nodes we can add, but only the execution is coming to the one leg because that has to be written, right? The independently, we have to write it like this. What are the tactics? The scalability, of course, can be increase your maximum resource utilization. So when the resource is there, we have to utilize. When the resource is less, yes, that is fine. We will utilize those resources. If the resource is there, then we have to utilize. This is applicable for project managers as well. So if the resource is there, they have to get those resources and do the work done quickly. This is we can use for the vertical scalability, right? The other thing is that distributing the system. So as I told, distribute the work to several machines or the several individuals, right? That is, we can achieve the horizontal scalability. Of course, the load balancing is there, right? The software or hardware load balancing. Sometimes we have to balance the load to achieve the scalability. What are the trade-offs? Security, testability, and deployability. Of course, the security, because the number of nodes is higher, right? Due to that, security may be getting down. The testability, of course, again, is now the system is very complex. There are several nodes. Some nodes is getting the execution, some nodes is getting the forward pass. The complexity is there. So the testability is going down. The deployability, of course, Viraj, right? The multiple node is there. So we have to deploy it in such a way. So sometimes we have to have scripting mechanism to deploy the system. Otherwise, we cannot deploy it in 10 places quickly, right? There should be a single place to deploy it in the multiple machines. So we have to transmit it using a single place, right? That's why we have to use some, what's that called, check or something like that, right? So the product to do the deployment. Yes, fine. I think we talk performance, right? Availability, the security and scalability in depth. I think you have got a good idea about that. Those four. So we'll quickly go through others in a brief manner. Usability, right? Usability is always that the system is how much usable for a user. Sometimes this is very important in the UI system, right? When we need to do a task, how many the mouse click is there, right? How many menus has to be traversed, right? If we get the Jira, it's very much easy, right? Usability is there, so we can go to here and there. Everything is most of times it is a single click. If we achieve using a single click, the every functionality is the usability is very much there, right? sometimes in our system, so user has to be traverse more. So we have to think about that. So as a UI guys, we have to think about in client products probably. So how much user travels, and we have to reduce that, right? So likewise, we can talk about the usability, the testability. Of course, when we having the system, the testability is very important, right? Sometimes, so we have to done it in the with the testing mechanism, right? Automation, test automations. So unit testing, test-driven way or something like that. We have to increase the testability, the modifiability. Of course, the how much the system can be modifiable, right? Because sometimes we are getting the customer requirements, we ask that, no, we cannot do that because this is our current architecture, we cannot do it. The architecture itself is the very restricted to modify, because it is not having the modifiability, right? It doesn't think about that. Extensibility is again the same like modifiability, right? The how much can be extensible. For an example, let's have one. So sometimes the extensibility can be increased using the parameterized way. So we can have the parameters and we can do the things. So if the hard coding the things is reducing the extensibility of the system, then it is hard coded and it is very restricted. Extensibility. I will go to quickly. Yes. The time is gone now, right? The portability. Of course, the portability is that the system can be deployed in several frameworks. The .NET products can be only in the Windows machine, right? Not in the Linux machine. Likewise, if the solution can be portable in any hardwares, with the portability. Accessibility. Yes, again the accessibility is like usability, and so we can call it like that, right? The affordability. The affordability is that the customer can be afforded. So we add 1,000 things to that, right? We add the security, the availability, everything is right. The multiple nodes is added, right? So customer can be afford this one. This cost should be affordable, right? So that is very important when we are dealing with the software architect. So if we design a better one and ask the customer is taking this much, the affordability is not there, right? When we design the house, the architect is designed a marvelous one, and he is asking that, okay, 20 million cost will be there to build this one. So we are asking that this reduce these things, likewise. So we have to get the customer requirement for the affordability, right? Do the things. Reliability, of course, right? The reliability is that the system is how much reliable. It is not going out of order. It is not going down. That means increasing the mean time to failure. So we talk about the mean time to failure, right? The system is working. There is a mean time to failure. The mean time to failure is very much high. That means system is reliable. System is not going down. Right? Availability is not just that, right? Availability. Let's say the system is down every 1 hour, right? Every 1 hour, but 1 second. The availability is high, right? But the system is down 1 time per day. That means the reliability is there, but it is 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Availability is less, the reliability is high. So these are two factors, but people can be think as a one, right? That's all actually. So I think you enjoy the presentation. Thank you very much.
Any
So if you have any,
question?
actually I put it as a discussion, not the question and answers. So you can discuss. So if you have any questions, you can raise, as well as you can discuss. You can add points.